There's no really easy way to segue into this. Brian Albert, why don't you just talk to us about Zombi? This is the Wii U sort of flagship horror game. It was the really cool, interesting roguelike that everyone thought, hey, wouldn't it be great if this was on literally any other platform? And now it is, and it's on PC, and that's great. And you've been playing it a little bit.
A lot of it.
A lot of it. You doing the review?
Yes, the review will be up when this show goes up.
Oh, man, now it's a race to see if I can make Brian wrong.
No.
So tell us a little bit about Zombi not on Wii U.
Zombi. Well, I was really interested in this game when it was on Wii U, but that was a launch title in 2012. And I didn't work at IGN, so I didn't have access to Wii U. So I was like, whatever, no Zombie U for me. But now it's here.
Yeah.
And it is mostly the same game. They added some more melee weapons because there used to just be the cricket bat. They got rid of the multiplayer mode, which used the gamepad, so you can't use that.
Yeah.
But mostly it's kind of the same thing, which is just like, I don't think it did very well before, and so they're probably just trying to get some sales.
Yeah, I mean, especially as a launch game for Wii U, it didn't go well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how many Wii U's are out there right now? How
14.
many Wii U's were out there in 2012?
12.
So
One for each year.
They've sold
One for
two
each
sets.
out.
Congrats, guys.
Anyway, the big hook, if you're not familiar with the game, is that if you die, your character is just done, and they are zombified.
Yeah.
And they have your bug out bag with all your equipment that you stored in it, and you have to go kill your old self and get your equipment back.
Yeah.
Which can be really tough if you didn't stash away extra stuff before. If you're just carrying it all around.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up?
No, it's just it was a really interesting premise. Like, it's sort of Dark Soulsy in terms of you want to go back to where you died, even though you know it's a dangerous spot.
Yeah.
And you have to kill your former, playable character, and you have to get your stuff back. And it was just, I don't know, to me it was a really interesting core mechanic that I would have loved to see them expand upon in a sequel.
It's an interesting narrative thing, too. Like, it's like the entire game is built on the back of dramatic irony. Like, you know where that body is because you lived that life, you played, you explored, you know the route. That's where I died. And now you inhabit like you're like a lady now, and now you're like, all right, I'm gonna go straight there
Yeah.
and find that dude and kill him and take that stuff.
But at the same time, I feel like sometimes, for me anyway, like I know you can speak to this a little bit, having played a bunch, but Rust.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have all your stuff, and then you get murdered.
Yep.
And then you wake up somewhere else, and it's sort of one of those. You die primarily when it's a situation you can't overcome, and now you're given less to perform, sort of, or to go back to the same area.
You're
So
hamstrung a bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I have nothing, so it's worth the risk to go die with nothing to get something.
Yeah.
The one thing the game does not do a good job of at all is making you care about your survivors. I literally just care that they're holding my stuff. They have new names and like
They don't have anything.
But
like,
and it doesn't even make
Barbara's
sense
better with
narratively
bats,
because
or-
you have a safe house and then you leave and potentially go die.
Yeah.
And if you die, you come back as a new character who's just in the safe house and they know everything you knew and they have all the progress you had. So like there's no they don't even try to connect.
Man, I feel like there's a really missed opportunity to have like characters who just talk to themselves, or you just hear their thoughts or whatever, right? And have people who are very confident, which then might drive the way you play. It's like, oh, this guy's really confident. I feel good too, and now I'm going to be extra ballsy.
Yeah.
Or if a character is talking about how terrified they are of everything and they're nervous, then maybe your play reflects that a little bit.
Yeah, they're weird. They just kind of like laugh as you're hitting zombies.
Yeah, it would be cool if they sort of took like stuff from Rogue Legacy, where like your characters have like inherent traits.
Yeah.
That'd be really
Or State of Decay.
Yeah,
Well,
totally.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
one of your survivors dies, and you're like, oh, Andrew was the gun guy. Now what do I do?
We basically just turned this into a discussion of what we want from a new zombie game.
Yeah, pretty much, honestly.
Isn't a bad conversation.
So how do they? The game made really dramatic use of the gamepad and the second screen, and the fact that you had to keep looking down to your gamepad and then back to the TV. Like, how do they overcome that?
Yeah, so I didn't play, but you had to look down at your inventory, which then took your eyes off if there were zombies.
Yeah.
First of all, you constantly have a radar pinging that tells you if something is coming near. So that doesn't seem too spooky anyway.
Yeah.
But now there's no
you turn it
gamepad. No, well, you have to hit Y to ping, and then when you upgrade it, it just it just keeps
Wait,
going.
it's just automatically. Is it like Aliens too?
It's
Yeah.
like, and then anything that
It's just
moves
like,
or
they're in
is
the walls,
alive.
man.
So it'll pick
Bill
up
Pax.
like, we're just veering off a little bit, but there's a room with like 6 dots in it, and I was like, not going in.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were all rats.
So
okay.
that's pretty cool.
I was
Yeah.
going to joke.
Right?
Does it pick up rats or dogs?
But yeah, now it just puts the inventory in the middle of your screen, and the camera zooms out, and you can kind of see around your character. The main problem I have with the game is that the combat is just so repetitive. The cricket bat is really weak. It takes like, I would say like 3 hits is like good. Like that was an easy fight, and then like 5 to 6.
Oh man,
for
yeah,
other fights.
it all
Like-
just came flooding back. I remember when Greg was reviewing this game for Wii U.
Yeah, you can read his review.
I
and
was like,
it's-
this is so cool. And
He
then
just
I
keeps-
watched any videos of him playing it. I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Like he's just wailing on the same enemy over and over and over and over. And in a game where lethality matters for you, having to stand there and just like mindlessly beat on a zombie's head
And-
is so disappointing.
sometimes
Is there weight to it though? Like, I mean, or is it just
no,
literally-
it's not.
Oh,
Like
that's the worst.
You can get a shovel. They added a shovel and like a spiked bat or something to the game, and they help. They can hit multiple enemies at once, so it does cut down on that a bit. But like I was saying in the review, like I found a double-barreled shotgun with a bunch of ammo, and I was like, because like weapons are not strong and you don't get a lot of ammo. But then I found a shovel, and I was like, oh yeah, like we're in business, you know. I don't know how poorly that game did, but I hope this helps kind of recoup some sales and enough for a sequel. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
and that's
love what's there.
where I wanted to go with this. Like we already started talking about what we want from it, but like I hope that this is a ploy for them to build up interest, to see if there is interest in the sequel, because they priced it at $20. They removed some of the features, and that's why it's cheaper. But it seems like it's cool still. Like that game has problems, yeah, but at the same time, it is novel and it has all these really cool ideas that made it interesting as a Wii U launch game. And now finally, more people are getting to play it.
Yeah, I feel like this is the game that's going to have legs on Steam, right? Like
Yeah.
those people that are hard up for zombie survival games.
Totally, and it's budget price, right? $20,
$20. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. This was a Ubisoft game. I imagine it took this long because of some contract they signed with Nintendo. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think the game was very difficult to port. I'd be willing to bet that these ports were done.
It doesn't-
a while ago.
Yeah, they did it 2 years
It
ago. and it's
doesn't
been
look a
sitting on
ton
them.
better than the Wii
Yeah.
version either.
See, that's really disappointing that they didn't fix anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's the game is actually like creepy and kind of has you on edge because of what death means, and so I was constantly more focused on like looking at my radar and like checking the lighting and the shadows
Right.
and stuff. So like you don't really, if you stop and look at something, you're like, well, that doesn't look very good. But I never paid attention to that.
That's really reassuring then as a game. It's like it is interesting enough that you're not thinking about how bad it looks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
What are the PC options like? Do you know? Have you checked out like the like
I don't think it's super
graphic settings
robust.
or anything? Okay,
No,
I
no.
didn't think so. It's a Ubisoft game. It rarely is.
Yeah.
yeah. It's a bummer that they removed the multiplayer because that was super interesting. It was this
Yeah.
asynchronous or asymmetrical multiplayer where the player with the gamepad was almost like a dungeon master.
Oh, wow.
And controlling, like spending this currency to choose which zombies they wanted and placing them in the map, sort of on the fly as the other players running through the map, and you're like, oh, they're going down this route. I'm going to put a ton of zombies around this next corner. Now something, I don't know, interesting, like sort of Fable Legends is doing a similar thing.
Sword Coast Legends, I think.
Yeah,
That
totally.
canceled
too.
BioWare game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus.
Shadow
yeah.
Realms.
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Last thing I want to say about this, even though your character is just this faceless random person, they do a great job of making the NPCs you find really weird. There's a character who takes you into a safe house and he's just like, yeah, I just help people. And you're like, well, why? Like, why would you do this?
Well, you're gonna end
And
up
like,
murdered.
you kind of figure out why he like lets people into his safe house, and then when you find a way to potentially escape London, maybe he gets really like upset with you and like tries to like keep control of you. It's just weird. Like there are people with weird motivations.
That's interesting, and I
that
wish
are-
there was more of it.
Yeah. It was like to the extreme, like a super hokey version of it, but like the Dead Rising games always had a really good way of doing that.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
there's lots of zombies, but there's also that guy that's super unhinged.
Everyone's
Yeah.
really quirky, and it just
Yeah.
gives that game a bit of personality.
Yeah, there's a guy who's like locked down Buckingham Palace and is like struggling to find a cure, and he's like has all these imprisoned zombies that he kills and
Oh,
like
man.
uses.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
there's so much cool stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
Zombie.
Zombie.